Hello Dino Peeps! Scorched Earth has always been one of my favorite maps, and I've spent a lot of time on ARK Survival Evolved on it, and now every day since the release of ARK Survival Ascended. Over the years I found my favorite creatures for the map, and I wanted to show you my top 10. But of course, this is my personal top 10 after a lot of gameplay hours. Feel free to share your own top 10 in the comments. And I put the vulture straight at number 10 because I always have a whole horde of them hanging around. They're easy to tame with spoiled meat and they're just super adorable. Plus, they lay small eggs, which is great for kibble in the early game. They eat spoiled meat, produce spoiled meat faster, and on your shoulder they'll attack things that attack you. And let's be honest, everyone looks cooler with a vulture on their shoulder. Next is the Lumenta, actually my first go-to flyer. Just throw a bola at it, then put a tent over it and trank it until it's unconscious. You can find pretty strong saddles and drops early on, and moths actually have a lot of health. Sure, they can't attack and they cannot carry much, but they're great for stealing your first wyvern eggs, and their little fart attack will slow down anything that wants to attack you, so you can easily get away. Next, the Moreltops, a dino that generates water for you, waters your plants, and farms like there's no tomorrow. Moreltops have saved me from dehydration more than once, and they're practically my first farming tame on Scorched. Unfortunately, they die relatively quickly, so make sure to breed them and raise babies to have a backup. They're herbivores and they will flee from you when they're alone, but in a group, especially with babies, they will attack you. The next one is the Megatherium, one of the best tames on Scorched. Quite surprising for such a fluffy creature, but on a map full of insects, a creature that gets a strong damage buff when it kills an insect is simply a must-have. Plus, you can farm deathworms and chitin with it, and you will get a lot more than with an Ascendant chainsaw. Perfect for when you need to craft cementing paste. So where do I start with the next one? The Procoptodon is simply a must-have. Berry farmer, baby taxi, wood farmer at the right bushes, taming aid, and travel mount. I do my desert drops with them. They have a lot of weight, they're fast, and they take hardly any fall damage when you hop around with them. And they also almost not use any stamina. Plus, you can get your teammates in the pouch and take them wherever you need to go. The next one is actually a very classic tame that you do want to have on every map they spawn, simply because the Argentavis has a weight reduction for resources. Not super suitable for getting wyvern eggs anymore because they are now too slow, but as a farm bird, as a pack mule, you can't live without them. The next one is the rock golem, and they are my go-to for stones and sands. And yes, I know, the Doit farms both better, but the golem is faster and he can defend himself better. I can also collect nodes underwater, even on other maps, because it doesn't have an oxygen value and therefore can't drown. I have a few in the base now to farm sand for our adobe buildings and for stone for cementing paste. The next one you wouldn't think would be on my list, right? And that's the Rex. Rexes are the most important and strongest carnivores next to the wyverns, and therefore they are also important for boss fights. In the south of the map you will find a bunch of guaranteed instant respawns for Rexes, so you can just simply pick the best levels directly. Next is the Mantas, and they are also a classic, simply extremely strong tame on Scorched Earth. Because with a good melee stat, they can knock out animals with an Ascendant club, and they are one of the best farmers you can get in the game. Put farming tools in their hands and they will farm everything that you would farm yourself, just much better. Even later on other maps, you will always transfer some good Mantas over to have OP farmers for rare resources. And my number one are wyverns. That doesn't need a lot of explanation, the fastest flyer on the map. Not necessarily compact or agile, but in the mid and end game they will be your main flyers. Wyverns are also regularly transferred to other maps to use them there as flyers. The only downside is that you have to raise them and you can't tame them, which is why they are not an immediately available flyer. But the effort is worth it. Since they're breedable now, you don't have to go to the wyvern trench as often to get wyvern offspring, but you can just simply produce them yourself. And that was my personal top 10 Scorched Earth tames. What are your favorite tames, and which tames do you think are overrated? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.